Eomer asks him, why are you here? Do you know about Boromir and the riddle that he had? What doom do you bring out of the north? And Aragorn says, the doom of choice. Why? Because every choice is a judgment. Every choice is a decision. And that's what doom means here. It's a judgment. When Aragorn says the doom of choice. He says, you may say this to Theoden. Open war lies before him, with Sauron, or against him. Notice, no neutrality. You cannot sit on the sidelines on this one. None may live now as they have lived, and few shall keep what they call their own. In other words, Aragorn is saying there are decisions to be made, and those decisions will affect not only your life, but the lives of those for years to come. Okay. They keep talking. They talk about the orcs. Aragorn mentions their friends that were with the orcs. And Gimli says they were halflings. And one of the riders besides Eomer scoffs. Halflings? Halflings? They are only a little people in old songs and children's tales out of the north. Do we walk in legends or on the green earth in the daylight? As if he had not heard the conversation between Eomer and Aragorn before. When Eomer said, do dreams and legends spring out of the earth? Because here is the future king of Gondor. There hasn't been a king in Gondor for hundreds of years. And Aragorn replies to him, a man may do both. That is, a man may both walk on the green earth in the daylight and in legends. Why? For not we, but those who come after will make the legends of our time. In other words, the things that we do now, the things that we do today, the decisions that we make, may become the matter of legends in the future. Just as the men who gathered in 1774 and 1776, especially in Philadelphia, did things that became legendary. Just as in 2001, firemen running up the burning Twin Towers did things that became legendary. Aragorn. The green earth, say you? That is a mighty matter of legend, though you tread it under the light of day. What does he mean? Well, I think you have to go back to the fairy story essay. The green earth. He's saying, if you really saw the green earth for what it is, if you saw the glory inherent in all living things, he said, you would understand how that is a matter of legend, yet you tread about it under the light of day. Meaning, we are so blind to the mundane things, to the things that we see around us every day, that we don't look at them anew and see them for what they really are. Okay? So, Eomer sends Eothane away, and Eomer and Aragorn keep talking. And skip over another couple of pages. Aragorn tells them how long they've been chasing the orcs. We find out they've traveled 45 leagues in 3 days. If I remember correctly, a league is about 2.5 miles. So they've got about 90 miles in 3 days on foot. They keep talking, and Eomer has to decide, what is he going to do with these 3 men? The law is that no one can wander unbidden, unwatched, unescorted through Rohan. And she has to decide, do I attempt to take them back to Edoras? Do I kill them? Or do I let them go? And Eomer says, page 438, it is hard to be sure of anything. The world is all grown strange. Elf and dwarf and company walk in our daily fields, and folk speak with the lady of the wood and yet live. And the sword comes back to war that was broken in the long ages, ere the fathers of our fathers rode into the mark. He's saying, I'm walking in legends and fairy tales and stories. When have dwarf and elf ever walked together, other than thousands of years ago? How shall a man judge what to do in such times. Éomer is asking, everything is upside down, it's topsy-turvy. How do I know what is right and what is wrong? How do I know what is good and what is bad? Aragorn replies, as he ever has judged. In other words, just because things seem strange doesn't mean that good and evil have changed. In fact, he goes on, good and ill have not changed since yesteryear. Aragorn is not like the vast majority of university liberal arts professors. What I mean by that is he is an absolutist. There is ultimate good and there is ultimate bad. There is ultimate right and ultimate wrong. He is an absolutist in the sense that he believes in goodness and truth, just as he acknowledges there is evil and falsehood. Let me go back and restate that. Good and ill have not changed since yesteryear, nor are they one thing among elves and dwarves and another among men. Now notice that. Elves, dwarves, and men are three separate races, three separate species, in fact. And he says, good is good for elves, dwarves, and men. That is, what might be good for elves, or what the elves might consider to be the good, is not any different than what men or dwarves would consider to be the good. In other words, it's not relative and it's not utilitarian. Relative meaning that it's not relative to one's particular race or species or country or nationality. So what would be good for Aragorn and the men of the north, the Dunedain, is similarly what is good for Gondor and the men of the south. And it is also what is good, or considered to be the good, or what is right, morally upright, for elves and dwarves. It is a man's part to discern them. Them what? Good and ill. As much in the golden wood as in his own house. Now why does he say as much in the golden wood as in his own house? He's using the golden wood as a place of escape. As a place of, when compared to his own everyday ordinary home, the golden wood is the perilous realm of fairy stories. It's almost the place of unreality. And Aragorn is saying, whether you are off in fairyland or in your own bedroom, what is right is right. It does not change from in your own home to outside your home, or in another country, or in another land. Good is always good. It never changes. Compare that with what Professor Quirrell tells Harry Potter at the end of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. He says he learned from his master, Lord Voldemort, that there is no such thing as good and evil. There is only power in those too weak to seek it. There is no such thing as good and evil. That is a Nietzschean idea. It is a very modern idea. That idea is foreign to Aragorn, but that idea is practiced by Saruman and Sauron. Éomer acknowledges that what Aragorn has said is true. True indeed. I don't doubt you, nor the deed which my heart would do, yet I am not free to do all as I would. Éomer says, you're right, I understand, and I don't have any doubts about you. But I'm not free to do as I wish. Why? Because he's not king. He's under law. And he says, the law binds me. So if I let you go, he's saying, I am putting myself under the penalty of the law. Which he does eventually do. He does let Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli go. And he tells them, remember your pledge to me and come back and help me. So they go off to Fangorn. Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli. And then we're going to skip the chapter of the Uruk-hai where we find out what's been going on with Merry and Pippin. And we go to chapter 4, Treebeard. Now again, notice what Tolkien has done. We had book 1 end, we had the Fellowship of the Ring in. Sam and Frodo went off on their own. Gandalf is dead. And we had the rest of the Fellowship still together. We opened with 2 towers. And we now have Boromir dead. Merry and Pippin taken off by the orcs. Sam and Frodo are still off on their own.